There's one thing that a logger can do like no other man. He'll put up with most anything till it's more than he can stand. He'll quit, I've seen him quit with style. He'll quit while wearing a smile. It don't matter to him, I've seen it time and again. He'll quit, he's done it before. He'll quit, ain't working no more. It's just something that he had to do. Now I've quit once or twice myself when I thought things weren't quite right. Most everyone has done it too. You never know when they might. They'll quit, and when they say they're through, they'll quit. Done working for you, it don't matter to them. I've seen it time and again. They'll quit, they've done it before. They'll quit, ain't working no more. It's just something that they had to do. Now you want a good man that will stick around no matter what you do or don't. Pay a good wage and a bonus too. He says he'll stay, then he won't. He'll quit, don't be too surprised. He'll quit, look you right in the eyes. It don't matter to him, I've seen it time and again. He'll quit, he's done it before. He'll quit, ain't working no more. It's just something that he had to do. Well, there's some guys that will stay a while. They like job security. You don't worry about them taking off. Here to stay, it's plain to see. But they'll quit when they say they're done. They'll quit, head out on the run. It don't matter to them, I've seen it time and again. They'll quit, they've done it before. They'll quit, ain't working no more. It's just something that they had to do. Now I heard about this rigging crew who said they were all fed up. They choked a stump and blew go ahead, walked out and caught a truck. They quit, and they quit with style. They quit while wearing a smile. It didn't matter to them, and they'd probably do it again. They quit, they've done it before. They quit, ain't working no more. It's just something that they had to do. They quit, they've done it before. They quit, ain't working no more. It's just something that they had to do.
such a long way from home. With book in hand I go seeking the answers. Who break these chains that I wear? Who claims this land that I know I must travel? It's such a long way from home. Roll on towards the edge of forever. Rolling on to forever. The days drag on like a drone. The years speed by as though they never happened. They're such a long way from home. We're such a long way from home. I'm such a long way from home.
Once in a while you find a young man that can learn to cut trees in time. Most never make it, but they learn how to fake it and all before they reach their prime. They take on a know-it-all attitude, you can't seem to tell them a thing. They need to listen to the voice of experience if they want to learn anything. I suppose this is true in any line of work you may find in the woods around. Fallen trees or pulling rigging, or setting jokers on steep ground. If you take on a know-it-all attitude and never stop to figure it out, you'll be lucky in a way if at the end of the day the crew don't have to pack you out. Now when you take on some government jobs and the big shots come around, they try to tell you how to cut your trees, work your lead with the ground. They've got that old know-it-all attitude, 'cause they read about this before. They've been to school and studied it all, and they don't need to learn no more. Now when I speak of this phenomenon, you all know what I'm talking about. It's that old know-it-all attitude, and it's a pain without a doubt. A college degree and a wicker bill hat, you can tell with just one look. I guess to be a real true know-it-all, you got to learn it from a book. College degree and a wicker bill hat, I know it all doesn't make. You work 3 or 4 short months in the woods, it's all it would probably take.
Playing racquetball by yourself is okay. It's a good way to practice and to get exercise, but it's not the same as playing a match. The level of enthusiasm goes up when you're playing against someone else or against another team. And when you're playing more than just another game, that level of enthusiasm jumps up yet another notch.
Teams from Southeast and the Yukon come to Juneau in mid-season to play softball. And because it's a tournament, the emotions flow a bit more than in a regular game. In every softball game, one team has to lose and let their emotions out in various ways.
We were robbed.
It was bad. It was bad.
Where did you finish?
In the bottom.
I don't think we're even on the final sheet.
And what happened? What happened? Yeah, what happened?
The pitcher failed him. We sent her home.
And who's the pitcher?
This one.
Between the victory stand and standing without a victory, each player bats, fields, and finds their enjoyment with the wins and the losses.
Yeah, because we came to the losers bracket.
It was like in high school and college, it was like I was always on losing teams. So what you try to do is just beat yourself every game, you know, just go for that fly ball and try to catch that, or the foul ball. And it's just like if you beat yourself, you're always going to be a winner. You know, at least that's how I approach the game. And there's one of my favorite sayings is a real measure of an athlete is not what she can do in comparison to others. It's what she can do in comparison of her own best self. And I think that's been my attitude, and you're always a winner, you know, and it's fun to just challenge yourself.
Good try, good try. Hold them now.
It's okay, oh, that's okay.
Despite weather conditions that might not seem appropriate to softball, this is a sport that thrives in Southeast.
4,000 people. There's a lot of people involved in the program. And then you have your youth programs, which you have all the kids in also. So
When you think of softball or baseball, you think of sunny days and warm temperatures. Hardly what we think of Juneau weather. Why do people say play softball in a rainy place like Juneau?
well, you know, you have to have your outdoor recreation. We all thrive on that, and I think Alaskans do a lot. And they just get out there and play, you know, rain or shine. Come on, Ole!
One of those playing, regardless of the weather, is Ole Olson. For her, having a good time is what the game is all about.
And Louie's Ladies is wonderful because we have that attitude, you know. It's just like we don't like to practice. We like to get together and play hard, but have fun.
Playing hard and having fun could be the motto for slow-pitch softball, where teams are divided into different leagues. So there's a place for everyone, from beginner to expert.
You know, it's like learning anything new. You get the basics, and there's a place to learn the basics, and that's what's so wonderful about, you know, Juneau softball. You know, there's a place for everybody.
You have people that have a lot of trouble fielding the ball in the infield and throwing to first base. Clear to people who can get a ball between shortstop and left field and fire it in to first base and get that person out running from home to first. We have some real extraordinary players.
I think the average age on our Louis team is like 40 or more, and 30, no, it's not 30. Everybody's at least about 35 to 40.
Stand up, stand up. All right.
Many of the emotions coming from this game are based on the calls made by umpires. Great effort if you're safe, bad call if you're out. The umpires who make the calls are paid, but that's not the main reason they're here.
I'm serious. If you're not out there umpiring because of the fun and enthusiasm of the game, you shouldn't be out there.
So I called her and I said,
The umpiring, I don't know. It's like all of a sudden the whole game has really opened up to me as an umpire. Because before I went out and I pitched my game when I was a pitcher, and that's all I saw was what I did. Now I see what 20 people do out there, and knowing the rules on top of it, God, what a difference it makes. It's more fun.
Ole Olson's fun playing slow pitch burns with an intensity that radiates like a bright light. And it burns whether she's in the field or at the plate.
Actually, I talk to myself quite a bit, you know. It's just like, you know, when you're concentrating so hard, you know, it's just like you get on a different plane or something, you know. It's just like you just try, you know, that concentration, you try to, you know, just fine-tune it.
Even if you don't hit a home run and your team doesn't win the game, much less the tournament, playing softball in Southeast still can be fun. Sometimes, though, you have to manufacture the fun.
1, 2, 3.
We had a blue tournament without a trophy. Played so hard and drank in every bar. We poured money into Juneau, and now we're headed home. And we're so blue without a trophy.
When the sun sinks in the hills and the twilight slowly fills each valley with a golden sunset light, all the world seems at its best when the sun goes down to rest in the twilight of a Yukon summer night. As the shadows slowly wend, another day is near the end. All nature seems to glow in splendor bright. Then the glory of His hand seems to fall upon this land in the twilight of a Yukon summer night. Twilight sunset beams kiss the silvery mountain stream. The shadows paint a picture in the light. Then the mountain peaks so high seem to tower in the sky in the twilight of a Yukon summer night. As the shadows slowly wend, another day is near the end. All nature seems to glow in splendor bright. Then the glory of his hand seems to fall upon this land in the twilight of a Yukon summer night. In the twilight of a Yukon summer night.
Cause I'm a regular guy, my name is Mac. King to King Salmon and a girl named Cat. She's a great bartender at the KTOO-TV. She lives with the bears in a big wall tent. She got a friend named Amber who got kind of bent when the boys of the band made fun of her kin. Montana, somebody said Montana. It went straight to her head. She said the men are men, and that she ain't scared. King Salmon, Alaska, I know you'll understand. Now they work for a mat with a beat up Dodge. One saying Denver, the other Red Lodge. They're the great bartenders at the KTOO-TV. They live in the wild in a big wall tent on CJ Street where there ain't no rent. And they talk about the Ryders when they played in Montana. Somebody said Montana. It went straight to her head. She said the men are men, and that she ain't scared. King Salmon, Alaska, I know you'll understand. That's life of King Salmon and the KTOO-TV, where there's always good fishing, except when the fish aren't in. It can be a little crazy again and again. King Salmon, Alaska, I know you'll understand. Now I'm a regular guy, don't need TV. Came to King Salmon and a girl Evie. She's a great bartender at the KTOO-TV. She drives an old red beater with a green tailgate. She tells the sweetest stories of her and her mate and how they saw the Riders when they played in Montana. Somebody said Montana. It went straight to her head. She said the men are men, and that she ain't scared. King Salmon, Alaska, I know you'll understand. That's life of King Salmon at the KTOO-TV, where when the fish aren't in. It can be a little crazy again and again. King Salmon, Alaska, I know you'll understand.
playing another sad tune about cheating hearts and a pain that starts when you look up at the moon, about railroad cars and lonely bars and that old hometown we miss. Be it ever so humble, there's no place like this. Well, there's no place like this. I've been making a list of cheap hotels with rooms like cells. There isn't one I'd miss, but I still see her laughing eyes and carefree goodbye kiss. Be it ever so humble, there's no place like this. An empty bed, a roof overhead, that's what my world's come to. I got just enough space so I can pace and think all night about you. You take your one-room shacks the wrong side of the tracks, but still I must insist, be it ever so humble, there's no place like this. Well, there's no place like this. I've been making a list of cheap hotels with rooms like cells. There isn't one I'd miss, but I still see her laughing eyes and carefree goodbye kiss. Be it ever so humble, there's no place like this. Well, there's no place like this. I've been making a list of cheap hotels with rooms like cells. There isn't one I'd miss, but I still see her laughing eyes and carefree goodbye kiss. Be it ever so humble, there's no place like this. Be it ever so humble, there's no place like.
Well, I've just been trying a little bit of this sport called racquetball. Anybody that doesn't think it's a workout or that you can't get one by running around inside a little room like this is wrong. But there's a lot of fun involved, too, in a sport that isn't very old. It was began less than 20 years ago, and in that time there's been a lot of people playing. In fact, there's even a pro circuit these days. There are people in Southeast who play racquetball, too. Juneau and Ketchikan, Sitka. Most of them are probably concentrated here in Juneau, where there's a big facility. The pro here is one of the better racquetball players in the area. His name is John McConaughey. He grew up in New Zealand, represented his country in the Olympics in swimming twice. Now he's in Juneau teaching racquetball. John, where did racquetball get started? Do you know?
I'm not certain the exact time or place it did begin, but early in the 70s it started to come out of mostly universities, where a game started called paddleball, which was a wooden racket with a wooden paddle. There was no strings in the racket, it was just holes drilled in it. And from that developed racquetball. Most of the earlier rackets were tennis rackets that were cut off, the base had been shortened somewhat, the handle, and people used those. In fact, the ball they used to use was an old tennis ball, but there was some sort of process where they could take the fuzz off the tennis ball, and they used to play with those.
Why do people play?
A lot for the love of the game. They enjoy that tremendously. I'm certain that is part for everybody, maybe not as much for some as it is for others. The other is a great workout. It is a good aerobic workout. It's not as good as if you're cross-country skiing, running, jogging, swimming, more rhythmic, because there is a break when you finish your rally. You start from and walk up and serve again, so it's not as rhythmic as those other activities. But it ranks right up there with basketball or handball or a very solid game of badminton if somebody plays good badminton.
What's the attraction of this, chasing this little blue ball inside these four walls for you?
Well, I think you can get a tremendous amount of exercise in a very short period of time, and it's also if you in a job where you're at a desk quite often, you build up some nervous energy and tension, and you can just get rid of all that real quick.
Well, I've been playing for about 7 years. I came here to Juneau about the same time they opened the club, and I just like to get the exercise. It's a lot of fun. Enjoy the competition and mostly the exercise.
How does this compare with other sports you've played?
Well, it's real intense, and there's a lot of you get your exercise real quick playing racquetball, and I played tennis and a few other sports, and this is just more intense.
Good way to get a workout in a short period of time, and it's convenient. On a rainy day or whatever, you can stop by on the way home from work and get your daily exercise.
What's the appeal of racquetball?
The initial appeal is the ease of entry into the game. Everybody nowadays is looking for something that they can get immediate gratification from, and racquetball is a good avenue for that. Of course, there are varying levels of play, like any activity or sport, but the initial entry level is very easy. Not a lot of equipment's required. Learning the rules is very easy. Most of them revolve around the serve. Once the serve is gone, there's hardly anything. And then also the ability to rally on the court is very easy initially.
John McConaughey was born and grew up in New Zealand. After taking part in several sports, he settled on swimming and set a goal of going to 2 Olympics. He made his goal and competed for New Zealand in both Munich and Montreal. He still recalls the feeling.
To explain it, well, people just have to think of the biggest thrill they've ever had in their life and then multiply that about 2 times, and that would be about it.
Today, McConaughey is the racquetball pro at the Juneau Racket Club, a sport he took up to keep in shape during his swimming days. He continues living by some of the lessons he learned while training to be an Olympic swimmer.
Setting goals are very important. The first part of a goal is a dream. That's the first part of it. And then the next part is writing down your goals. And they've got to be achievable goals. If you write down something that is not achievable, there's no point in writing it down. But writing down your goals is very important. They can be short-term. They could be as much as 2 days from now, but they could be as much as 20 years from now. And the other most important thing about goals is to show them to somebody else. And in that way, you're locked in. Somebody knows some of your most inner thoughts about what you want to achieve. And so now that you've got somebody you have to account to in a way. When I swam, we used to write our goals up on the mirror, the times we had to hit, the events we wanted to go to, and what placings we wanted to. And every morning you got up and brushed your teeth, and that was your goal sitting up there. Now I just carry them around in my wallet, but they are very, very important. And if you do write down your goals, just don't push them away somewhere. If you want to attain anybody can do anything they want in the world. I'm a firm believer of that. It's just how determined, how much do you want that? And if you expect it to fall in your lap, 1 time out of 2 million it may fall in your lap. But if you work at it 9 times out of 10, you'll make it fall in your lap.
If you're talking about us being able to attain anything we want and bring it down from a big perspective to a narrow one, if we played racquetball and I really wanted to do it, even though I'm not as good a player as you, are you saying, if I really concentrate that I could go out and beat you?
I believe that. Now, to some people that might seem far-fetched, but for some people it might mean more work than others. But if you were to work at it, come down and hit by yourself and train 2-3 hours a day perhaps, or it might even be an hour a day for 6 months. I don't know what would occur in 6 months. I may have to get down here and start training 2 or 3 hours a day, but it is possible.
What happened that time?
Okay, again, in racquetball, it's not only sometimes if you want to get a good shot, it's get a weak return, and I got a weak return from you from a halfway decent shot. And as a result of that, it just again sat up and I was able to kill the ball, take it down very low again, which is the ultimate shot that you can.
If a shot comes like that to your forehand, how many times can you do that kill shot?
On a good day, you should be able to hit 8 out of 10 of those shots.
I thought I had a good shot that time.
You had a great shot, but you stayed in the backcourt, and I saw you standing back. And so I knew if I could punch it down on the sidewall, front wall, or even pass you hitting it on the front wall, I might have a good chance of getting a point because you hung back too far.
McConaughey also offers racquetball instruction.
That's the 3 defensive shots, the ceiling ball shot, the round-the-world shot, and the Z shot. Now we'll go on to the offensive shots. The one that is known most commonly is the kill shot, and that's a shot that hits the front wall very low. Such a return is almost next to impossible. It bounces 3 or 4 times even before it comes to mid-court. The kill shot.
Is it tough to develop the skills to play at a level that you're happy with?
Well, I'd always like to get better, and so it is a little frustrating sometimes not getting there as quickly as you'd like, but I think you can develop the skills pretty rapidly to play a good game and get a good exercise out of it.
Thanks for joining us on another journey through rain country. We'll be back again next week and continue our wanderings. I'm Scott Foster. Have a nice day.
Cannery floor, anticipating canned the salmon by the retorque's cast iron door. And through this late night madness you might wonder how it would be aboard a limit seiner, cast your nets into the sea. But I can still remember working on the cannon machine long before the days of Prudhoe wealth when the salmon was still king.